Shalom. Most High Christ bless. Happy Sabbath, everyone. Before we get started with today's class, I'd like to read our TTIC disclaimer. TTIC, also known as the Truth in Christ, is a Bible-based organization. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. We teach the Bible as it is written. We are not a hate group, nor do we teach violence. We do not condone any acts of hate or violence against any race, ethnicity, gender, and religious group. We firmly believe in abiding by the laws of the city and state. If you witness any member of TTIC committing a crime, please contact us and the proper authorities. Thank you.
All right, Shalom, Most High Christ bless. How y'all brothers doing? Happy Sabbath out there to y'all brothers and sisters here, to y'all brothers and sisters on the line. Happy Sabbath to y'all brothers and sisters. I hope everybody doing all right. All praises the Most High. If you're not, I hope the Lord bless you to do all right. I want today's Sabbath class. Let me announce that first. Today's Sabbath class is who gave us the language of today. Today's Sabbath class is who gave us the language of today. All right, class, this is part one of 2 parts. I chose this week to start it. I chose next week because I'll be off for 4 days and I'll be able to be way more better in the spirit. I'll be more alert next week. So next week is the second part of this class, okay? It says, who gave us the language of today? All right. So we're going to start off with Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9 and verse 1.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon in the Apocrypha, chapter 9, verse 1. God of my fathers and the Lord of mercy, who hath made all things with thy word.
So who have made all things with thy word,
and ordained man through his wisdom that he should have dominion over the creatures which thou hast made.
Mm-hmm.
And ordered the world according to equity and righteousness, and execute judgment with an upright heart.
So he ordered the world according to equity and righteousness, and executed judgment with an upright heart. So, verse 2, read verse 2 one more time.
Verse 2, and ordained man through thy wisdom that he should have dominion over the creatures which thou hast made.
And so, you know, those creatures also go into us. So that we's going to have to, God gave us, he gave dominion over the creatures which thou hast made. So now watch this real quick. From her, give me Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 11.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 11. All good things together came to me with her, and innumerable riches in her hand.
Stop. All good things together came to me with her. Who's the her? The laws. That's what he's talking about. God's law. Okay? And innumerable riches in her hand. Talking about wisdom and understanding. Okay, watch this read.
Verse 12. And I rejoiced in them all, because wisdom goeth before them.
You see that? That lets you know that verse 11 was talking about what? Wisdom. Go ahead.
And I knew not that she was the mother of them all.
I knew not that she was the mother of them all. Read.
I learned diligently and do communicate her liberally. I do not hide her riches, for she is a treasure unto men.
She's a what?
She is a treasure unto men.
Read.
That never faileth.
That never faileth. So this wisdom is a treasure unto man that never faileth. So the wisdom, God's wisdom, is a treasure. Something, when you find a treasure, what do?
Oh, man, you guard it with your life. You treasure it.
You treasure it. You guard it with your life and you treasure it. Hold on. Let me see. Let me not go off real quick. I ain't got with me for a minute, guys. Give me 1 second, I'm coming. All right, give me Matthew chapter 13. And story 43. Watch this.
The book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 43. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let him hear.
Read.
Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field.
And so when you find that treasure in a field, what do you do when you find that treasure? When you find that treasure in the field, you go take that treasure and you go put it up. You go take that treasure. You ain't gonna tell nobody, but the person that is closer to you, the closest to you. That's all you gonna do because you want it. Man, I just found a whole thing of treasure, man, of gold and silver and man. Read, watch this.
It says again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hid in the field, the which when a man hath found,
when he find it,
he hideth.
That's what I just say.
He hideth.
Read.
And for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field.
And buyeth that field. Because you want that treasure. That treasure means a lot to you. You wanted that treasure. So you go buy that field because you know what? I don't want nobody else.
That's right.
To get part of this treasure.
That's right.
So now watch it. Let's go back. Wisdom of Solomon.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, and
verse 13. Or 14.
For she is a treasure.
She's a treasure
unto men that never faileth, which they that use become the friends of God.
Which they that use. So it let you know that treasure is not talking about money. It's talking about the word of God. It says they that use the word of God, they become a what? Friend of God. Read, watch this.
Being commended from the gifts that come from learning.
Being commended from the gifts that cometh from learning. Come on.
God has granted me to speak as I would, and to conceive as is meet for the things that which are given me. Because it is he that leadeth unto wisdom.
It's him that. So the only way you can get this wisdom, brothers and sisters, if God leadeth you to it. Read.
Because it is he that leadeth unto wisdom and directeth the wise.
And he directed the wise. So God leads you into this wisdom and he directs your way. So you just can't pick up the Bible and just read it and say, you know what? I got to understand it. God got to lead you to this wisdom.
Yep.
Read.
For in his hand are both we and our words.
In his hands. Read that again.
He says, for in his hands, in God's hands, are both we and our words.
Stop. Read the top of 15.
God hath granted me to speak as I would.
Stop. Who granted him?
God.
God granted him. Now read the first line of 16.
For in his hand,
for in God's hand,
are both we and our words.
You see that in his hand are both we and our words. So, brothers and sisters, when God made this Bible in English, he knew what this Bible already said. Way before you brothers was even woke up, this Bible was already ordained to be written in this language. It was already prophesied.
Yeah.
That's the only word I can use.
Yeah, you said ordained. I guess that was enough.
You know,
yeah.
Y'all brothers got to realize, y'all brothers and sisters got to realize, we be reaching because we want to look like we know something. Mm-hmm. We feel like we want to know something. But right here, read verse 16 again.
It says, for in his hand are both we and our words.
And we and our words.
All wisdom also, and knowledge of the workmanship.
See, all wisdom and all knowledge is in God's hands. All wisdom and all knowledge. Who God is giving it to? You. So now today's class, that's why today's class is who gave us the language of today. Because you got a lot of brothers that saying, hey man, you got to learn this language. Or you got to say it this way. You got to say his name that way. But somebody skipped why we even got this language today. Somebody skipped over that. Y'all act like it's irrelevant for us to have this language. No, this language is relevant because wherever we go into captivity at, that's where God put us in. He put us there for a reason. All right. So let's go Genesis chapter 11 at verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 11 and verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language.
So in the beginning, the earth was at one language. In the beginning, the earth was at one language. Every man, every woman, every child spoke one lingo. Remember that word, lingo. Read.
And of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar. And they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one.
The what?
The people is one. And they have all one language. And this they begin to do.
So hold on real quick. Okay, I'm sorry. So, well, I'm sorry, guys. So, what verse we at?
Verse 6.
Okay. All right, let's go to verse. Go ahead. Keep on going.
Verse 7. Go to and let us go down, and there confound their language.
So he said, let us go down and confound their languages. Let us go down and confound their languages. Read.
That they may not understand one another's speech.
So he said, let's go down and confound their language language. That we may confound their language so they cannot what?
So they may not understand one another's speech.
So they may not understand one another's speech. So the languages was made for a reason. So that you would not understand one another's speech. Alright? That's what the languages, what God did to the languages for. Alright, watch this. Let me see that real quick. Yes, not the pen. Yes. Alright. So he said, let me go and confound that they might not understand one another's speech. Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta write this down for next week, part 2. Okay. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm coming. Something just popped in my head, so I'm putting it down. Already got it. All right, go ahead, officer. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
Great.
So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city.
Great.
Therefore is the name of it called Babel.
And so therefore the name of it was called Babel. The word Babel means confusion. Read.
And because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth.
Stop. So the language of there was called Babel. Watch this. Give me Revelations. Give me Revelations. If y'all remind me next week, I will touch on this, but I'm just going to this right now just to show you something. Revelation 17, please, and verse 5.
The book of Revelations, chapter 17, and verse 5.
So what do Babel means? Babel means what? Confusion. So watch this. Read.
Revelation 17 and 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
You see what God calls America? Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. Because here, why it says the mother of harlots? Because here a man can be a woman. Mm-hmm. Because here a woman can be a man.
That's right.
So the changing of kinds is here in America.
Yeah.
So that's why God calls Mystery Babylon, because you don't know, they hide their identity from the people. They're hiding their identity from the people. So that's why God said Mystery Babylon the Great. But when you go to Psalms, let's go to Psalm 137. And I want 8 and 9.
Book of Psalms, chapter 137, verse 8. It says,
7 and 8.
Remember, O Lord.
Remember, O Lord.
The children of Edom.
Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
In the day of Jerusalem.
Read. Watch this.
Who said, race it, even to the foundations thereof. Verse 8, O daughter of Babylon.
See, well, who is Edom?
O daughter of Babylon.
That's the so-called white men of today. They cannot deny who they are. We know who they are through God's laws. Remember when Wisdom of Solomon says, let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon real quick, Officer George. Let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon. Give me Wisdom of Solomon 7 and verse 13.
Verse 13. I learned diligently and do communicate her liberally.
Read.
I do not hide her riches.
Watch this.
For she is a stranger unto me.
Well, hold on, stop.
For she is a treasure unto me.
And she's a treasure unto man.
That never fell.
That never fell. So the Bible is a treasure unto man that never fell. Watch this.
Which they that use become the friends of God.
They use become the friends of God. Watch this.
Being commended for the gifts that come from learning.
We're being commended from the gifts. The gifts that come from learning, brothers and sisters, is knowing who your enemy is. Knowing who is the devil. That's the gift of God. No one understands it. That's the good news. The good news is Christ gonna come back and save us, and these people is your enemy.
Yep.
That's the good news in the Bible.
That's a damn good news.
Because what y'all really don't understand is, for years, our people, y'all know I'm not lying. You can go on any movie, any old sitcom with Red Fox. For many years, black folks have always said the white man is the devil.
Yep.
For many years.
Yeah.
Our people always said that thing. And they were saying it because of the atrocities that they took us through.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't mean it as like we showing them today that what you were saying was real.
It's real. Yeah.
We revealing that through the same book that they say is theirs, which is not theirs. That's our Bible. That's our book, guys. So that's let's go back. Where was it? Read that again. Verse 8.
In the book of Psalms, 137, verse 8. O daughter of Babylon.
O daughter of Babylon. O daughter of confusion. When America, it's confusion. The African American name, I'm using the African Americans. The African American man name has been changed from color, now from nigger to nigger, to black, to color, to black again, to Afro-American, then African-American. That's confusion. That's confusion. What is your damn nationality? They don't even know what your nationality is. You brothers was named after a hairdo.
Yeah.
Y'all don't think something is wrong with that?
Right.
Soon as they start giving y'all food stamps and all that stuff in Section 8, y'all forgot who the devil was. God says, give me that, and the gift destroys the heart, please. Ecclesiastes 7:7. Y'all forgot. But I tell you who don't forget, it's the Arabs. Who won't forget is the Japanese.
Yep.
They dropped them bombs on Nagasaki, Hiroshima, right? Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna forget.
No.
The Arabs ain't gonna forget when they bomb them time after time. They not gonna forget. Read what you got.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. Make a wise man mad. But watch this.
And a gift.
And a what?
A gift.
And a gift
destroyeth the heart.
You see that right there? A gift destroyeth the heart. A gift will destroy a man's way of thinking.
That's right.
Because let me tell you something, man. I'm not trying to be funny or that. It's like when you get into it with your woman. What do she try to give you to make up?
A gift.
She try to give you a gift. Yeah, I'm quiet up there. Let me give her a little give some. What do the men do?
Same thing.
Right. Baby, come on, let's go out to dinner. He won't take you to dinner because he know he'll messed up. I'm gonna take you out to dinner and go shopping.
Trying to cool that flame down.
There you go. Everybody knows that thing right there. Ain't nobody stupid. There wasn't nobody born yesterday. And a gift destroys the heart. Hold on real quick. I got something else with that. Let me find it. Give me Proverbs 21:14. Proverbs 21:14. Watch this. We're not gonna get off of what we're talking about. We ready to get right back in it. I just gotta show y'all some things to bring this stuff out all the way. Watch this.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 14.
Read.
A gift.
What?
A gift.
A gift.
In secret.
In what?
In secret.
That's what y'all gotta remember. What was they giving us when the corona hit? They started giving everybody what?
Them what you call a check?
Those with stimulus checks. A gift in secret, read,
pacifieth anger.
Pacified the anger. So what they start doing is when we came out of the 70s, after they killed Martin Luther King, Fred Hampton, Malcolm X, after they killed these brothers, they said, we're going to give y'all Section 8 food stamps. We're going to give y'all that. We're going to give y'all low income houses. We're going to give y'all these things. We're going to read it again.
It says a gift.
A what?
A gift in secret pacifieth anger.
Read.
And a reward in the bosom, strong wrath.
See, that's why, like, when your people get killed falsely, that's why the state gives you, they give you some money. But this is what I was trying to bring out. You know, like when you go to penitentiary, you falsely accused. Mm-hmm. They try to give you $1 million. $1 million can't cover that I just did 20 years for no reason at all. Yeah. I miss my babies growing up and everything. That can't cover that. But you know what? A Negro, he'll take that $1 million and won't even think about the 20 years that he missed.
Yeah.
You know why? Because he's greedy. He's greedy. He ain't thinking about what they just falsely accused him of. He's thinking about, I got $1 million now.
I got $1 million. Yeah.
Read that again.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 14. It says, a gift in secret pacifieth anger, and a reward in the bosom, strong wrath.
That's strong wrath. So everybody understand that. That's why they give you these things. Let's go back to, did we read verse 9 on Genesis 11? Read Genesis 11 and verse 9.
The book of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 9. Therefore is the name of it called Babel.
Confusion.
Because the Lord did there confound the languages of all the earth.
Because God confounded the languages of all the earth. Because God confounded the languages of all the earth. Now, what y'all not looking at is, you say, okay, God confounded the languages. Okay. But you didn't realize that he took, everybody was speaking one language, and then he gave them all multiple what? Languages. But what we're going to read today is, and next week, I hope y'all brothers and sisters tune in for the understanding. During these times where all these different languages came in, guess who also had to know the languages? We always had interpreters. Mm-hmm. We always had people that was able to speak the language and able to hear the languages.
Right.
We always had people. Why? Because it would have been a disadvantage for us if we didn't know what they was plotting against us.
That's right.
But we're going to show you through the scriptures so y'all won't think it's no, we're just talking. Psalm 135 and 6.
The book of Psalms, chapter 135 and verse 6. Whatsoever the Lord pleased, that did he in heaven and in earth, in the seas, in all deep places.
Hold on, let me get there also. Let me get there. Psalms 135. Make sure I got the right scripture. Yeah, come on.
Psalms 135 and 6, I'll read it again. Whatsoever the Lord pleased, that did he in heaven.
Whatever so pleased the Lord, that's what it's saying. Whatsoever pleased the Lord, he did in heaven. Read.
In earth.
And in the earth.
In the seas.
In the seas.
And all deep places.
Because whatever pleased God, that's what he did. We can't understand God. We can't fathom God's thoughts, brothers, because our minds are not on a pure level. We're not on a pure level. You're not going to understand God's thoughts when you're on when you're still in the hood, when you're still hanging around with drug dealers, when you're still hanging around with murderers, you still hanging around with gangbangers. You know what I mean? You still got your baby mama in your phone calling up for a booty call late at night. And then you want to say God gave you all the deep knowledge in the world. You got to think about this, man. What I'm saying to you, am I being evil?
No.
Or am I being wrong for telling you the truth? Y'all brothers know this, man.
Keep it 100.
When y'all I'm doing what?
Keep it 100.
Keep it 100, man. Because when y'all brothers don't keep it 100, and that's the problem. You know damn well you still some of y'all over your mama's house, some of y'all living with a girl, some of y'all living with your brother, some of y'all just living wherever and ain't keeping no laws. But watch this. So let's go in the process of time. Let's go to Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. So after God changed the languages in the process of time, watch this. Genesis chapter 12, verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 12, verse 1. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show you.
So God told Abram to keep it moving. I'm going to show you. I'm going to go to a land where I'm going to show you. Read. I'll be jumping down to verse 10.
Verse 10. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there. For the famine was grievous in the land.
The famine was grievous. Come on.
And it came to pass when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarah his wife, Behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife. And they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake. And my soul shall live because of thee. And it came to pass that when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was very fair.
So they looked on her, they were like, damn, she beautiful.
And the princes also of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh. And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Abram.
So he entreated Abraham
well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen and asses and manservants and maidservants and she asses and camels. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh in his house with great plagues because of Sarah, Abram's wife.
Sorry, come on.
And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife?
Stop. Read 18 again.
18. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that thou hast
Stop. I thought in Genesis 11, God just confounded everybody. So over the process of time, how is Pharaoh, an Egyptian, able to talk to Abram, which is a Hebrew? It right here, read it again. It said,
And Pharaoh
called Abram
and said, What is this that thou hast done unto me?
Read.
Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife?
Read.
Why didst thou? She is my sister. Why saidst thou, she is my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife.
Read.
Now therefore behold thy wife. Take her and go thy way.
Read.
And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had.
Stop. So how was Pharaoh and his men able to speak to Abram? So even though the languages was taken away, and everybody get their own language, in the process of time, they was able to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
That was the what? Egyptians at that what? At that time. All praises. All praises. Let's go. Genesis chapter 23, verse 1.
Book of Genesis chapter 23 and verse 1. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjath in the same in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah, so to weep for her.
Watch this.
And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I'm a stranger and sojourn with thee.
This is another African tribe.
Give me a possession of a buying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my Lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres, bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre.
Stop. So let me ask you a question. Was not he communicating?
Yeah.
So Abraham was communicating after God had confounded the languages. That's two different nations that he was communicating with, right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 19, verse 30.
Book of Genesis chapter 19, verse 30. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountains, and his two daughters with him. For he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his two daughters.
He and his two what?
And he and his two daughters. And the firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come into unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine.
And come and let our fathers what?
Come and let us make our father drink wine.
Mm-hmm.
And we will lie with him, that he may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with her father. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, Behold, I laid yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also, and go thou in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night also. And the younger arose and lay with him, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father.
By their father.
And the firstborn bare a son, and called his name Moab. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. And the younger, she also bare a son.
The Moabites is the Chinese. Watch this.
And the younger, she also bare a son, and called his name Ben-Ammi.
Ben-Ammi.
The same is the father of the children of Ammon,
which is the Japanese.
Unto this day.
Stop. Now, when those kids was born, what did you think they spoke? The language we spoke. What language do they speak today? The Japanese and the Chinese. They got their own what?
No language.
They got their own language. Now, today. The Japanese and the what? Chinese. Watch this. Give me Numbers, chapter 21, and I want 20. I think, yeah, Numbers 21 and 20.
The book of Numbers, chapter 21, and verse 20. And from Bamoth in the valley, that is in the country of Moab, to the top of Pisgah, which looketh toward to Jeshimon. And Israel sent messengers unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, Let me pass through thy land. We will not turn into the fields or into the vineyards. We will not drink of the water or the well, but we will go along by the king's highway until we be past thy borders. And Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his borders.
Agreed.
But Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel into the wilderness.
Agreed.
And he came to Jahaz and fought against Israel. And Israel smote it with the edge of the sword, and possessed his land from Arnon unto Jabbok, even unto the children of Ammon. For the border of the children of Ammon was strong.
That was the Japanese. Come on, watch it.
And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon and in the villages thereof.
Read.
For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his land out of his hand, even unto Aram. Wherefore they that speak in Proverbs say, Come into Heshbon, let the city of Sihon be built and prepared, for there is a fire gone out of Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sihon. It has consumed Ar of Moab, and the lords of the high places of Arnon. Woe to thee, Moab! Thou art undone, a people of Chemosh. He has given his sons that escaped and his daughters into the captivity unto Sihon, king of the Amorites.
So we communicated with those people, right?
Yeah.
All right. We communicated with Moab, Ammon. We communicated with these different type of people, right? So what I'm just giving y'all a start of us communicating with the other what? Nations. Watch this. Give me Numbers 22 and 1.
The book of Numbers, chapter 22, verse 1. And the children of Israel set forward and pitched in the plains of Moab on this side of Jordan by Jericho. And Balak the son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, and Moab was sore afraid of them.
So Moab was afraid of the people. Watch this.
Because they were many, and Moab was distressed because of the children of Israel. And Moab said unto the elders of Midian.
The Midian is the Ishmaelites. Come on.
Now shall this company lick up all that are around about us, as the ox lick up the grass of the fields. And Balak the son of Zippor, he was king of the Moabites at that time.
Read.
He sent messengers therefore unto Balaam, the son of Beor, and Pethor, which is by the river of the land of the children of his people, to call him, saying, Behold, there is a people come out from Egypt, and behold, they cover the face of the earth.
They cover the what?
They cover the face of the earth.
Read.
And they abide over against me.
So now watch this real quick. Let's go to Genesis chapter 37 and give me 25 and then jump to 28.
The book of Genesis chapter 37 verse 25. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites, came from Gilead with their camels bearing spiceries and balms and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt.
So it was a company of what? Ishmaelites. Y'all see that? Jump down to 28.
Then there passed by Midianites, merchant men, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver.
Read.
And they brought Joseph into Egypt.
So they brought Joseph into Egypt. Okay, y'all see that, right? So let's read go back to 26 so we can read down. So just in case, watch it.
Genesis chapter 37, verse 26. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites.
See, you see that? He said, come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites. I just wanted y'all to get that. Go ahead, watch this.
And let not our hands be upon him, for he is our brother, our flesh, and his brothers were content.
Read.
Then there passed by Midianite merchant men.
Watch this.
And they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit.
That's the brothers. Read.
And sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites.
So that was the brothers that sold Joseph to the what? Ishmaelites. Okay? Read.
For 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt.
Go ahead. Keep on reading.
And Reuben returned unto the pit. And behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brothers and said, The child is not. And whither shall I go?
Read.
And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat in the blood.
Read.
And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, This we have found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, It is my son's coat. And evil beasts have devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent into pieces.
Stop. So what happened is, I just wanted to read down there. The brothers sold him to the who?
To the Ishmaelites.
To the Ishmaelites, which is the Midianites, which is the what? The so-called Ishmaelites, which is the Arabs, right? Everybody got that. I just wanted to get that part clear because I know it was confusion. Now look at me, Genesis chapter 25, 1 through 3. So for them to sell them to the Ishmaelites, they all had to be communicating on a communicating level.
Yeah.
Just like today, when you deal with nations that is here, the Japanese, the Chinese, the East Elam, the Napoleon people, the India people, when you dealing with these, talking to these people, all of them talk with that English language, even though it, hey, brother, how you doing? My name is Remy. Yeah, but they still speak on a good enough English level where you understand. Where you understand them.
Yeah.
So just like back then, the same thing. All right, watch this.
Genesis 25, you say?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 1. Then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimran, and Joktan, and Medan.
Go ahead, keep on going. I'm just trying to get there.
And Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. And Joktan begat Sheba, and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Asherim, and Letushan, and Lumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephas, and Epher, and Hankosh, and Abda, and Eldahah. All these were the children of Keturah.
All these was the children of Keturah. So the sons of Midian. So that let you know that I was just showing you this right here to show you that our people, we always have been around these people. We communicated. As we communicated with people, we knew who they was.
That's right.
Okay, that's all I'm trying to explain to you right here. All right, so when Abraham, he took a wife, and her name was Keturah, she buried them sons. Okay, and as you can see, God it's always one kid around these brothers that God would change them to another nation, and that's what you read right there. All right, so now watch this. Let's move on to 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 3 also. It's going to get a little bigger, easier right here also. A little more easier. Watch this. 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 3.
The book of 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 3. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side.
So the Philistines stood on one side of the mountain, and Israel stood on the other. Watch this.
And there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath.
So Goliath was the champ. Watch this.
Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits in a span.
So he was very tall. Okay, he was very tall. All right, maybe 7 foot tall, somewhere around there. So 7 foot, 8 foot tall, somewhere around there. So this was a very tall man. Let me make sure. Keep on going.
He had a helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail. And the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass.
So it was a heavy coat. 5,000 shekels of brass. That's a heavy coat. Watch this.
And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders.
So his armor alone was heavy. Watch this.
And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spearhead weighed 600 shekels of iron. And one bearing a shield went before him. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, Why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am not I a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul? Read. Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. Read. If he be able to fight with me and kill me, then will we be your servants.
Then will we be your servants. Watch this.
But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us. Read. And the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. Then Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistines, and they were dismayed and greatly afraid.
They was what?
They were dismayed and greatly afraid.
Let's jump over to verse 22.
Verse 22, and David left his carriage in the hands of the keeper of the carriage and ran into the army.
So he left his supplies into the hands of the keeper of the carriage, and he ran to the armies. Come on.
And came and saluted his brethren.
Read.
And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name,
Read.
out of the armies of the Philistines.
Can y'all see this big dude coming up? I mean, just think about this big dude coming up. He's big as hell. Over 7 foot, almost 8 foot tall. He's coming up and everybody looking at him like, damn. He's like Manute Bowl. That's how tall he was.
Yeah.
He was taller than Shaq. He was like Manute Bowl type.
Yeah.
So he's coming up, and he wasn't a skinny Manute Bowl. This is a big dude.
Yeah, bigger than Shaq.
Bigger than Shaq. Right to his reach.
And let me go get back where I was. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, they fled from him.
Damn.
And were so afraid.
They were scared of his brother. That's how big he was. Read.
And the men of Israel said, have ye seen this man that has come up?
That's how you know he wasn't a skinny dude.
That's how you know they was brothers.
That's right. This dude is big. Read.
Have ye seen this man that has come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up, and it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach of Israel?
I'll take it back. I'm sorry. That is 9.7 feet
Wow,
high.
that dude's almost tall as a basketball rim.
He is tall as a basketball rim and big. Thank you for that information. Damn. He was tall as a basketball rim and big. Damn. Yeah, I would have been running too. Yeah, we had her, bro. Get on that motorcycle. We had read what you got.
He said, for who is this uncircumcised Philistine?
So what King David say?
He said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? And the people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that killeth him.
Read.
And Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David.
Read.
And he said, why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride.
He said, I know thy pride.
And naughtiness.
And their naughtiness.
Of thine heart.
Read.
For thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle.
Stop. So the older brother, that's what the older brother do. He's protective of his younger brother. He jumped in David's butt. He's like, bro, you got pride on you, bro. Why are you coming down? But see, what he didn't understand is maybe Eliab had hatred for his little brother. Because he'll see, watch what David Grace explained, and he'll see this thing. I'm going to show you that he'll see this before. Read, watch it.
And David said, what have I done? What have I now done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him towards another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner.
Read.
And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul.
Come on.
And he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of it. Thy servant will go and fight this Philistine.
You see that? He said thy servant will go fight this Philistine. Watch it.
And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight.
Saul said, hey man, look, David, look. Because at the time, you got to remember, David wasn't up with a boy. He's like, man, you cannot fight this dude, bro.
Right.
But they say, boy, you been smoking that crack. When you know crack back then? But he asked David, are you smoking that crack? Hold on, y'all, because I missed the point. Me messing with all the Jews, y'all missed the point. Let's go back.
Where you go back to?
No, we can catch it. I go ahead, keep on going. We'll catch it up here. I just wanted to make a point, but go ahead.
Okay, that 1 Samuel 17, I'll start right again in 33. And Saul said to David, "Thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth."
But thou art but a youth, read.
And he is a man of war.
And this man is a veteran. Come on.
From his youth. And David said unto Saul, thy servant, keep his father's sheep. And there came a lion. And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep. And there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth.
Read 34 again. I'm sorry, Officer George. Read 34 again.
And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep. And there came a lion.
There came a what?
A lion.
A lion.
And a bear.
And a bird.
And took the lamb out of the flock.
Read.
And I went out after him, and smote him.
And I smote him.
And delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard.
So he caught the lion by his what?
By his beard.
That's why we wear our beards a manly badge. Badge of manly honor. That's why we wear our beards. That's how you can identify a man from a woman. It's by the mane, by the beard. That's right. The same thing with the lion. Read, watch this.
And smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them,
Read.
Seeing he hath defiled.
You don't think David went there and told his brothers and his father and them that he smoked the lion and the bear? And you don't think they went out there and seen that lion?
Yeah.
Yes. Bro, because you know the first thing they did, maybe you would lie. He goes out there and show them the bear and the lion did. Read, watch it.
Seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hands of this Philistine.
Read.
And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee.
Read.
And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put a helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor. And he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with thee, for I have not proved them. And David put them off. And David put them off of him.
And so he took the armor off of him, and he took the sword off of him, because he said, I ain't proved it yet. I don't know how these gonna work. But read.
Yeah. And he took his staff in his hand, and he chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in his shepherd's bag, which he had even in a crisp. And his sling was in his hand.
No, even in the strap. Go back. Even
in his S-E-R-I-P strap.
Strip. You said, go ahead. I got you.
And his sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Philistine.
So he took the strip, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. So this is Goliath. Watch this.
And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David.
Watch this.
And the man that bare the shield went before him.
Read.
And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth.
He was but a youth.
And ruddy. And of a fair countenance.
So that's what ruddy means, guys. It means he was a beautiful. He looked at him. He said, "Man, this little dude's a pretty little dude, man.
He's a cute little kid."
Yeah, man. Right. That's how he looked at. He said, "You're a pretty little dude, man." But watch this, go. Watch this. Come on, watch it.
And the Philistine said unto David.
Now stop. This is the whole point that I get with through all this story. It's right here. Read that again.
And the Philistine said unto David.
Watch it.
Am I a dog?
Am I a dog?
That thou comest to me with staves?
With the staves, with your sticks?
And the Philistine cursed David by his God.
Read.
And the Philistine said to David, come to me, And I will give thy flesh into the fowl of the air, and to the beasts of the field.
Watch this.
Then David said to the Philistines,
Stop. How are they communicating back and forth when God changed the
languages.
How are they communicating back and forth? The Philistines are Africans.
Mm-hmm.
This is more Africans than those Africans have different what? Lingo.
Mm-hmm.
But how is our people keep communicating with the Africans with the different languages? But watch this. Come on.
And then said David to the Philistine, thou comest to me with the sword, and with the spear, and with the shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts.
What verse you in?
That's 45.
Okay.
But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied.
Whom you have defiled.
This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand.
Watch this.
And I will smite thee and take thy head from thee. And I will give the carcass of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowl of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth.
Come on.
That all the earth may know that there is a God of Israel. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear. For the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands.
You see that? It says, and all of this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear. That's something to understand right there. You don't have to have a gun for God to save you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have a bulletproof vest for God to save you. God saveth not with the sword or spear. So no weapons. You don't need. For the battle is the Lord's. He's going to fight for you. That's why the scripture said God is a man of what?
A war.
God is a man of war. And he will give you into our hands. Watch this.
Verse 48. And it came to pass when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran towards the army to meet the Philistines.
Read.
And David put his hand in his bag and took thence a stone and slang it and smote the Philistine in his forehead.
Read.
That the stone sunk.
Hold on, the song what did what?
And the stone sunk into his forehead.
You know what? Now we know David was not that big of a young man. Because the Philistines made jokes of him. One person said, oh, you're just a little kid. You're just a little pretty little kid. Ain't no way you can fight me.
Yeah.
And so if he was a grown man, he wouldn't have said he looked like a little kid.
Little ruddy kid.
Yeah. So you see that David, God empowered David to hit them with that sling, hit him in the head, and the stone went into his forehead. Sunk into his forehead and killed him. Watch this.
And he fell upon his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in his hand of David.
Now, so the most important things that I'm getting out of here, even though I'm showing you the things that happened, the most important things that I'm getting out of here is showing you that we communicated with the what? Philistine, right? Mm-hmm. So now let's go to Genesis 39 and 1, Officer George. Genesis 39 and 1. Watch this. Going back. Now, so far we've been talking about all what? Africans, nations, right?
Yep.
Moab and Ammon and
Philistines, the Egyptians.
Yeah. The Amorites. So watch this. So now watch this. 39 and 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 39, verse 1. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, he brought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither.
So come on.
And the Lord was with
Potiphar, the officer of Pharaoh. So he brought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites. So the Ishmaelites have always sold us, even back then in the beginning of Genesis. The Ishmaelites have always sold us. I want y'all to understand that. So when we go to Joel 3, and it says the Africans and the Arabs sold us into the hands of the Grecians. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing. That's not nothing new. They did this back then, and they doing it right now. You gotta remember Jacob. Joseph. I'm sorry, Joseph was at that time. You gotta realize God was dealing with Joseph. What about the other brothers?
He was dealing with them.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
But God was dealing with Joseph. Watch what it says. Come on.
And the Lord was with Joseph.
And the Lord was with Joseph.
And he was a prosperous man. And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him. And that the Lord made all that he did to prosper.
How did he see that the Lord was with him?
Yeah, that's powerful right there.
You see that? Read. Go on.
And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in the sight, in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had he put into his hand.
Right.
And it came to pass from that time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house.
Right.
For Joseph's sake.
Stop. Remember we was talking about that. Remember when we was talking about that. So the first thing is first, Joseph was speaking with who? The Egyptians. He was dealing with the Egyptians. He was conversating with the Egyptians. This is after the Babylonian, after the scattering of the people and the changing of what? God gave everybody their own what? Language. Okay, now watch this. Keep on going.
And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had.
You already read that.
Okay.
Go to the verse 6.
And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand. And he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person.
He was goodly, meaning he was a handsome young man.
And well favored.
And he was well favored. Read.
And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph. And she said, lie with me.
Read.
But he refused. And he said unto his master's wife, behold, my master woteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he had to my hand.
Read.
There is none greater in this house than I. Neither hath he kept back anything from me, but thee.
But you.
Because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?
So back then, Joseph already knew, he was taught by his father, that it's a sin to sleep with another man's what? Wife. Come on.
And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her, or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house therein. And she called him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled, and got him out. And it came to pass when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forth. Stop.
So that's all I want right there. So Joseph was communicating. Go to 41 and 1.
Book of Genesis chapter 41, verse 1.
We not done yet. Come on, watch it.
And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed. And behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat-fleshed. And they fed in the meadow. And behold, 7 other kind came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kind upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and the lean-fleshed kind did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kind. So Pharaoh awoke, and he slept and dreamed the second time. And behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ear devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled. And he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt, and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none of them that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. Then he spake to the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my fault to this day. Pharaoh was wroth with his servant, and he put him in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both men and the chief baker. And he dreamed a dream in one night. I and he, we dreamed, each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was there with us a young man and a Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard. And he went and told him. And he interpreted to us our dream. To each man according to his dream he did interpret. And it came to pass, as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored unto mine office, and him he hanged. 25. Verse 25. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. God hath showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. 36. And that food which be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. So the reason why I went to this is just to show you that he was communicating with the Egyptians, with Pharaoh, same thing. I just wanted to show you again, just in case you didn't get it. So now, let's keep on going. Genesis 42 and 20. This is just 20 through 23. Watch it. The book of Genesis chapter 42, verse 20. Verse 20. Now watch this, guys. So Joseph understood the king's language, right? But watch this. Starting out with verse 20. Yes, sir. It says, but bring your youngest brother unto me, so shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. And they said one to another, we are verily guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the anguish of his soul. Right. And when he besought us, and when we were not here, therefore is this distress upon us. Right. And Reuben answered them, saying, spake I not unto you, saying, do not sin against the child, and ye would not hear? Therefore, behold, also his blood is required. Read. And they knew not that Joseph understood them. They knew not Joseph understood them. Watch this. For he spake unto them by an interpreter. See, so Joseph was in what at that time? An Egyptian. So they didn't think Joseph, they didn't know it was their brother. So they didn't know that Joseph understood what they were saying, because this is a process of what? Time. And the family came in. So by Joseph being an Egyptian, they didn't know that the Egyptian, they knew that the Egyptians did not understand our language. But we understood their language. That's why they said that he thought Joseph talked to them by what? Interpreter. Everybody understand that? Yeah. All right. So that's why I wanted to explain to you that these people didn't know our language. All right. But we knew their language. Okay. They might have had some people. It was some people that did
know how to talk through learning, but it was very few. All right, and the proof that as we go on, you understand what I'm saying. 2 Kings 18-26. 2 Kings 18:26.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 18, verse 26. Then said Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and Shibna, and Joah, and Rabshakeh, speak, I pray thee, to thy servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it, and talk not with us in the Jews' language.
Now, hold on. It says, speak, I pray thee, to thy servant in the Syrian. So we understood the what language? Syrian language. So we understood their language. But he said, watch this.
For we understand it.
For we understand your language.
And talk not with us in the Jews'
Don't
language.
talk to us in our language.
In the ears of the people that are on the wall.
You see that? Don't talk to us in our language. Speak to us in the Syrian language. But don't talk to us in our language, because y'all don't know our language like that. But we understand y'all language.
Right.
That's heavy.
That's not one of them to catch on no way, huh?
Right.
You continue?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see where I was at. Psalms 147, 19 and 20. So he told them, hey, don't talk to us in talk to us in your language. Don't try to speak in our language.
The book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. And as far as his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord.
So ain't no other nations ever. God ain't never sit down and gave them our law, statutes, commandments. They don't have our ways. So we always understood or learned other people's language.
Yeah.
We always understood and learned other people's language. So Rabshakeh, when he did that, that was a sign of what? Disrespect. That was a sign of disrespect when he did that. You understand? So that's the reason why that they was upset with when he did that. But watch this. Let's go from our Officer George. Give me Jeremiah 40 and 11. Jeremiah 40 and 11. Watch this.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 40 and verse 11.
That's why, the reason why we're doing this, we get more into next week's class. You don't understand that, man. That's our brothers and sisters sitting up here learning this Yiddish that we speaking now, these languages, the Hebrew supposed to be. It's not the Hebrew. It's not our language, man. You know what I mean? So God has sent our language. He'll send his word into this language. Why? Why would he take us back to our language, which there's no one there to teach us that our language? Right. You know what I mean? So watch it.
Not to cut you off, but what's that one guy, that basketball player that was dancing with the Jewish Stoudemire, and they was interviewing him, and he was talking about how he learned the Jews language, and he's not even realizing that it's not pure.
It's not pure enough. It's not even close to pure. All right? It's not even close. Give me Jeremiah 40 and 11.
Jeremiah 40 and 11 says, likewise, when all the Jews that were in Moab, and among the Amorites and in Edom,
and among the Amorites in Edom,
and that were in all the countries, heard that the king of Babylon had left a remnant of Judah and that he had set over them Gedaliah, the son of
Ahikam,
the son of Shaphan.
All right. So it says, likewise, when all the Jews that was at Moab and among the Amorites. So Moab is the Japanese. I mean, the Moab is the Chinese. And Ammon is the Amorites is the Japanese. And in Edom,
White folks.
the so-called what? So-called white folks. And that were in all the countries heard that king of Babylon left a remnant of Judah. So when we was in Moab, we spoke their language. Japanese, we were speaking their language. In Edom, we were speaking their way. Language. Who is over us today? Edom. Mm-hmm. We was back then we was speaking their language. Right now we speaking their what?
Their language.
Their language. Watch this. We ain't done. Give me James chapter 1, verse 1.
The book of James, chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ. To the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings.
Which to the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad, greeting. Because we are scattered everywhere. When Christ walked the earth, we were scattered everywhere.
Yep.
Give me Acts chapter 2, verse 7. We were scattered everywhere. Watch this.
The book of Acts, chapter 2 and verse 7. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own language, wherein we were born? Continue.
Yeah.
Parthians and Medes and Elamites, and the dwellers in the Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus and Asia, and Phrygia and Pamphylia.
Pamphylia, come on.
In Egypt and in parts of Libya, about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians. We do hear them speak in our tongue.
We do hear them speak in our tongue.
The wonderful works of God.
The wonderful works of God. So we were scattered, and they spoke in the Jews' tongue, but they also spoke in the tongue of where they was from. This is where we got to get in our thick heads. Acts chapter 21, verse 37. Watch this. So we was back in the Old Testament, and Abraham spoke to the Egyptians. Joseph spoke to the Egyptians, right?
Yep.
Now watch this. Let's go to the New Testament. Acts chapter 21, verse 37.
The book of Acts, chapter 21, verse 37. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, And may I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek?
Can thou speak Greek?
Art not thou the Egyptian?
Stop. How was the Egyptian? So the Egyptians, even though they had a different language, they spoke. They was able to speak to the Romans because the Romans wouldn't ask them, was he Egyptian?
Yeah.
So that language right there was a common language of the Romans, right?
Right.
It was a common language. Read, watch this.
He says, Art not thou that Egyptian which before these days made us an uproar and led us out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers?
Read.
But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia.
So this year, come on.
A citizen of no mean city, And I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people.
Stop. So Paul said, I am a Roman citizen. So what language did Paul speak?
Hebrew. When he was a Roman citizen, he was speaking whatever the Romans were speaking.
Right. So he was speaking what the Romans spoke, which was Latin, right? So he was speaking with the Latin tongue, but so he was talking to the officer in the officer's what? Tongue.
In his tongue.
Well, that explains how Paul was able to travel to go through different places. And explains why Christ picked Paul to be able to go to different places, because he spoke the languages. He spoke multiple languages. Paul spoke multiple languages. So did Christ. Watch this. Verse 40, finish it off.
Acts 21 and 40. And when he had given him a license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with his hands unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue.
What verse you at?
Right at the end of 40.
Okay, go ahead.
And he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue.
And he spake to them in the Hebrew tongue. Stop. So he spoke to the guard in the Latin tongue, and then he spoke to the people in the what? Hebrew tongue. All right, let's go to Romans chapter 1, verse 1.
The book of Romans chapter 1, verse 1. Paul, a servant of Jesus Christ, called to be an apostle, separated unto the gospel of God, which he had promised afore by his prophets in the Holy Scriptures.
Verse 5.
Verse 5. By whom we have received grace and apostleship for obedience to the faith among all nations.
Hold on. Obedience to the faith of all nations.
For his name.
For his name. So we was going to be in all nations. Paul's telling you that. Watch this. Read verse 6.
Among whom are ye also called of Jesus Christ.
Come on.
To all that be in Rome.
To all that be in Rome.
Beloved of God.
Read.
Called to be saints.
Stop. That's why he lived when he was born in Rome. He was a citizen. That's why when he spoke the same lingo that they what? Spoke. So when he went back and he was starting teaching people in the name of God, it was easy for him to relate it to them in the Roman in that
you call it Latin.
Latin tongue. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He was giving it in that Latin tongue. It was easy for him to relate it to them in that Latin tongue. It was easier. Because those people, they didn't understand the Hebrew tongue no more. And so where he had to speak to them in the tongue that they was at. Watch this. Is that it? Verse 8. Go ahead.
Verse 8. First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for you all, that your faith is spoken of throughout the whole world.
Throughout the whole world? You think everybody in the whole world spoke the same language?
No.
No. No, no, no. No. All right, from where? Give me John chapter 19, verse 18. Is it cold in here again? Go ahead. John chapter 19, verse 18.
Okay. The book of John, chapter 19, verse 18. where they crucified of him, where they crucified him, and two other with him, on either side, one, and Jesus in the midst.
So they crucified him, two others with him on either side, one, and Jesus in the midst of them. Come on.
And Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross. And the writing was, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. This title then read many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh to the city.
Watch this.
And it was written in the Hebrew, and Greek, and Latin.
So we know who Greeks was. Greeks was Alexander the Great. So it's written in the Hebrews, the Greeks, and the Latin. Everybody understand it?
Right.
All right. Come on.
Let me get back where I lost my place. And verse 21. Then said the chief priest of the Jews to Pilate, write not the King of the Jews, but that he said, I am King of the Jews.
Write not the King of the Jews, but that I am the King of the Jews. Read.
Pilate answered, what I have written, I have written.
What I have written, I have written. Because he was supposed to write it that way. It was supposed to be right that way. All right. So, from her, give me the definition. ʻliNGGwə. ʻliNGGwə. Now, watch his definitions, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
Okay. The word I guess it's lingo, ʻfraNGkə. It says a language that is adopted.
ʻliNGGwə.
There you go.
ʻfraNGkə. Not friend. ʻfraNGkə. Yeah, it's pronounced different. It's pronounced funny.
Okay. Yeah, it is. This is a language that is adopted as a common language between speakers whose native languages are different.
Read it again.
A language that is adopted as a common language between speakers whose native languages are different.
So, ʻliNGGwə means that, like, we here in America, we don't got our language, but this is the primary language here in America. So what we speak, the American language. What happens when like we got people from Jamaica, we got people from Brazil that works at our job. They speak their language, mm-hmm. but they also speak the American language because they gotta be able to communicate.
Right.
Okay, that's where that comes in there. Just like I got like actually 12 nationalities at my job. That 12 different nationalities at my job, and every last one of them speaks some kind of English. It might be on the low end, but they all speak some kind of English. All right. It might not be real well, but they know some basic words of the English, all right? And so that's why when you look at it, that's the common language in the world now. That's the common language is English in the world. Read that definition one more time.
It says, ʻliNGGwə, a language that is adopted as a common language between speakers whose native languages are different.
So whose native language are different. Go to the next one. Read that one. A mixture.
Historical. A mixture of Italian with French, Greek, Arabic, and Spanish, formerly used in the Levant.
You see that? So a mix of different languages. All right. So just give y'all understanding that. Hold on real quick. Let me see. I need to look at this. Give me 1 second. There you go. Read that for me, Officer George, right there. All right, this is lingo for Carl. Wikipedia. Watch this.
It says Frankish tongue for plurals to see. Okay, that's
right.
Also known as bridge language.
Yeah, a bridge language.
Common language.
Common language.
Trade language. Is a language systematically used to make communication possible between groups of people who do not share a native language.
Read.
Or dialect. Particularly when it is a third language that is distinct from both of the speaker's native language.
You see that? So it is a language spoke from their native language. So here in America, that's why when brothers come and they saying, hey, we got to have the Hebrew, we got to blah, 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 blah. No, bro. Because God made this thing right here. He the one brought forth this what? Language. He brought forth this language. Watch this. From our Officer George, I'm going to give you an example. Give me 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 10.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
So he reigned 137 years in the kingdom of the Greeks. Keep reading.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many.
Hold on. They went out of Israel. Wicked men. Go ahead.
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Read.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Read.
So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen.
So they gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathens. Come on.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised.
And they made themselves what?
Uncircumcised.
And they made themselves uncircumcised.
And forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen.
So these brothers forsook the covenant and joined themselves unto the heathen. Jump over to 41.
Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and every one should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifices, and drink offerings in the temple. And that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh, and unclean beasts. That they should also leave the children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. To the end they might forget the law.
So they might forget the law
and change all ordinances.
To forget the law and change all the ways of our people. Watch this.
And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
So you had to change your ways, give up what? Do you not think that they made us stop speaking in our language at that time? How you think they was communicating with us? we were speaking the Greek tongue. Everybody understand it? So that's what y'all gotta understand. This thing ain't new, man. This thing. So when we was over there, the same thing happened. So why it seem so far-fetched that today that we don't have our Hebrew tongue? Why do it seem so far-fetched to me? Why do it seem so far-fetched? Now, when the Romans came in, they lightened things up better. That's why you got to realize we were from the Greek to the Roman. The Romans allowed us to keep the feast days and all that stuff, but the Greeks did not allow us. They wouldn't allow that.
And they talking about putting you to death.
There you go. The Romans allowed you to keep your feast days.
That really helped us to the Greeks, where it says in Jeremiah vows discontinue from my heritage. Mm-hmm. When you do that long enough, you will discontinue.
There you go.
You forget everything that you had that was yours.
There you go. So from her, also George, give me 2 Maccabees 6. I just want 6 and 6. 2 Maccabees 6 and 6.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, and verse 6.
Watch this. This is the point I was just making.
It says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days.
Here it goes.
Or ancient feasts.
Read.
Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
So I was not playing when I said that they did not allow you to talk in your language. If they was possessing you, if they was
well, they said it was unlawful for
and it was professing to profess himself to be a Jew and all to be a Jew. So you couldn't even say that you was a Jew.
Right.
So you know you wasn't speaking your what?
Your language.
Your language.
Man, I'm Afro-American.
Yeah, you had to be a Greek. And that's where we bring it to the point of where we hit right now. Give me the first article. The Hellenistic period Wikipedia.
Excuse me. Hellenistic period of Wikipedia. In classical antiquity, the Hellenistic period covers the time in Mediterranean history after classical Greece, between the death of Alexander the Great, what we call the Greek, in 323 BC, and the emergence of the Roman Empire, as signified by the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, and the conquest of the Ptolemaic Egypt the following year. The ancient Greek word Hellas was gradually recognized as the name for Greece, from which the word Hellenistic was derived. Hellenistic is distinguished from Hellenic in that the latter refers to Greece itself, while the former encompasses all ancient territories under Greek influence, in particular the East after the conquest of Alexander the Great.
Jump down.
During the Hellenistic period, Greek cultural influence and power reached its peak in the Mediterranean and beyond. Prosperity and progress in the arts, literature, theater, architectural, of new comedy, Alexandrian poetry.
No, you missed some stuff. No, go back up.
Yeah, theater.
Start it over. Should start over. During
the Hellenistic period, Greek cultural influences and power reached its peak in the Mediterranean and beyond. Prosperity and progress in the arts, literature.
Watch this real quick. In the arts, literature. Now watch these words that they saying, guys. Art, literature, theater,
architecture,
come on.
Music, mathematics,
read,
philosophy, science.
Right, go ahead.
Characterize the era.
See, that characterize the era. Where are we at right now?
Same place.
Are we at that same place right now? Do they not do the same thing right now?
Yep.
Literature, theater, architecture, music, mathematics, philosophy, science, all that is right. It's everything is turned right back around to the same place we are at right now. Yep. And let me show you something. What we're reading right now is at the same point, and I'm just adding this in for the things that have been happening with Kanye and Kyrie. Remember, we just read they said they could not profess at all to call themselves what? The Jews. What did the owner of the NBA said? I mean, the owner of the Knicks said that he's not anti-Semitic, and the commissioner said the same thing. But he still got to go through steps. What's the steps? Not calling yourself a Jew.
Right.
That's the steps. We must put you back to sleep. You can't play until. If I was Kanye, I would just cut my contract, take my money. I mean, not Kanye. Kyrie, I would take my money and bounce. Because guess what? How the hell you gonna tell me I can't call myself what I want to call myself? Your people can call you. You got boys calling women, you got boys calling boys girls, and you got girls being called men. Come on, man. That don't make sense.
Yeah.
That don't make sense.
But that Greek fashion is showing through.
Yeah.
They but you know, in some of the universities dealing with those, what they call them, fraternities and all like that.
Yes.
Alpha, Kappa, this and that and other, and all that. They come from Greek.
Yes. But back to what we were saying. So these things right here is to hook this up with it is showing you the same thing they was doing back then. It's the same thing they doing right now. Right now. This thing ain't nothing new under the what? Sun. Watch this. Keep on reading.
The Hellenistic period saw the rise of new comedy, Alexandrian poetry, translation efforts such as the Septuagint and the philosophies of Stoicism and Epicureanism and Pyrrhonism in science. The works of mathematician Euclid and the polymath Archimedes are exemplary.
Read.
The religious sphere expanded to include new gods, such as the Greco-Egyptian Serapis.
Read.
Eastern deities such as Attis and Cybele, and a syncretism between Hellenistic culture and Buddhism in Bactria and Northwest India.
Hold on real quick. Let me go back. Okay. Bactria in Northwest India. Okay, go ahead, read that last part. Scholars.
Okay, down here. Scholars and historians are divided as to which events signal the end of the Hellenistic era.
Read.
Proposal as the closing event include the final conquest of the Greeks' heartlands by Rome in 146 BC.
That's when the Romans defeated the Greeks in 146 BC. Come on.
Following the Achaean War, the final defeat of Ptolemaic kingdom at the Battle of Avicum in 31 BC.
Read.
And the move by Roman Emperor Constantine the Great of the capital of the Roman Empire, Constantinople, in AD 330. Angelos Chenoetis.
That's it.
Angelos Chenoetis ends the Hellenistic period with the death of Hadrian in 138 AD, who's integrated the Greeks fully into the Roman Empire.
Who integrated, not killed them off, not enslaved them, they integrated them. That means they joined together. They joined them with them. Read.
Fully into the Roman Empire through a range from 321 BC to 256 AD.
So they defeated, the Romans defeated them. They said, look, we're going to get rid of this guy that you're doing. And that's what I just say. That's how we was able to go back and start doing our feast days and everything again. Yeah. But a lot of people that was in them, those little countries and those little places, they were still Hellenized.
Yes.
They were still following the Greek factions. So that's what you got to understand here. All right? But the whole point we here today is talking about the reason our communications. We still knew their languages. They knew our languages. Mm-hmm. That's how they was able to communicate with us. When the Romans came in, did we get crossed up on their language? No, because when Christ walked the earth, when Christ talking to the Romans, he was dealing straight up with the Romans.
Yeah.
All right. From our Officer George, give me second Maccabees. Nope. Last one. Get you some water. Did we already get the History Channel? Nope. The next one. Yes. All right. Here we go to the next one.
So we got the Hellenistic Greece. It says in 336 BC, Alexander the Great became the leader of the Greek kingdom of Macedonia. It says by the time he died 13 years later, Alexander had built an empire that stretched from Greece all the way to India. That brief but thorough empire-building campaign changed the world. It spread Greek ideas and culture.
It spread what?
Greek ideas and culture from the Eastern Mediterranean to Asia.
That's a long way, brothers and sisters. And that's what you see right now with America. American philosophies are spreading from this side of North America all the way over there to Israel. All the way to Africa, all the way to Brazil, all the way to Russia, Europe, all this, their ways are spread all through the world. Read.
Historians call this era the Hellenistic period.
The Hellenistic period.
The word Hellenistic comes from the word Hellenize, which means to speak Greek or identify.
Hold on, it means to what?
Speak Greek or identify with Greek.
So you see, we spoke Greek and we had to identify. That's what it meant when it says that if we did not, Second Maccabees 6:6, it says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts or profess himself at all to be a Jew. That's what that's talking about right there. Read that part again.
It says, historians call this era the Hellenistic period. The word Hellenistic comes from the word Hellenize, which means to speak Greek, or identify with the Greek.
So what is our people right now? Our people is speaking the Gentile language.
That's right.
That's what we speak right now, because this is where God sent us at. All right, so we speak right now. That's why God said, with stammering lips and another tongue would I speak to this people.
That's right.
Go ahead.
It says it lasted from the death of Alexander in 323 BC until 31 BC, when Roman troops conquered the last of the territories that the Macedonian king had once ruled.
Where the Macedonian king had once ruled. Okay, I think that's it right there. All right, so now give me the last one, Judaism.
I'm trying to get this word. Yahadut
you ain't gonna work that.
Is an Abrahamic, monotheistic, and ethnic religion comprising the collective religious culture and legal traditions and civilizations of the Jewish people. It has its roots as an organized religion in the Middle East during the Broadway.
It ain't no such thing as Middle East. We was in Africa. Read.
It has its roots as an organized religion in the Middle East during the Bronze Age. Modern Judaism evolved from Yahwism, the religion of ancient Israel and Judah by the late 6th century BCE. And this and is thus considered to be one of the oldest monotheistic religions. Judaism is considered by religious Jews to be the expression of the covenant that God established with the Israelites, their ancestors. It encompasses a wide body of texts, practices, theological positions, and forms of organization. The Torah, as it is called.
Hold on. Read it again. It
encompasses a wide body of text, practices, theological positions.
We don't have no theological. There's no such thing as theological in the Bible. Okay, God don't. That's man's philosophy. That's them throwing out that garbage right there. Watch this. Read.
In forms of organization.
In forms of organization. According to the Jewish, the reason why I'm bringing this out, because I'm going to use their words against them. According to the Jewish people, that's why they don't want Kanye or Ye or Kyrie saying they Jews, because they say, well, y'all can't be Jews. According to y'all religion, then y'all say only white people can be Jews. Where when we telling you that the Jews are the black people,
right,
we promote racism.
Right.
But what are they promoting when they saying the Jewish people can only be white people? You're right. The Jewish, because you pertain to you acting like you somebody. All y'all, it is pertaining to y'all. But the Jews are black. That's it. So when you try to use these words and you putting all y'all stupid words in there, your big words to try to cross up somebody, all that is garbage. Because we know God only delivered the laws unto us. Watch this, read.
I was getting ready to say that's where that theological positions and forms of organization comes in.
Right.
That's garbage.
Garbage.
Say.
Go ahead.
The Torah, as it is commonly understood by the Jews, is part of the larger text known as the Tanakh. The Tanakh is also known to secular scholars of religion as the Hebrew Bible, and to Christians as the Old Testament. So you had the Torah and the Tanakh. The Torah is the first 5 books from Genesis to Exodus to Leviticus to Numbers to Deuteronomy. That's the first 5 books, is the Torah. Alright? Then you had the Tanakh. Tanakh is the prophets. Right. Tanakh is the 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, Kings, 2 Kings, Chronicles, 1 and 2 Chronicles, all the way to Ezra, to Esther, all the way up to Malachi. Alright? That's the Tanakh. Read. The Torah's supplemental oral tradition is represented by latter texts such as the Midrash and the Talmud. No, it's not. That's the Jewish people thing right there. That's the fake Jews thing. Because what did God say? Hold on, let's see, is that true right there? Give me Isaiah chapter 34. Give me Isaiah chapter 34, verse 16. Let's see, is that statement true right there, what they just said? The book of Isaiah. What's that? The Midrash, and the Talmud. Watch this. Okay, the book of Isaiah, chapter 34, verse 16. And it reads, Seek ye after the book of the Lord, and read. Seek ye after the book of the Lord, and read. No one of these shall fail. None of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. Read. For my mouth hath commanded. For my mouth commanded. And his spirit it hath gathered. So none of them can mate with this Bible. So your Talmud don't mate with the Bible. It don't mate with the Bible. So from there, keep on reading. It says the Hebrew word Torah can mean teaching. Torah means
Torah means teaching, law,
or instruction.
That we can take that. Go ahead.
Although Torah can also be used as a general term that refers to any Jewish text.
No, it's not. No, it's not. They made up stuff. It's exactly what the Torah is the beginning, the first 5 books of that's the first 5 books of the law. Yeah, hell you will say it's also could be referred to Jewish text. Read.
It says to be referred to any Jewish text that expands or elaborates on the original 5 books of Moses.
Read.
Representing the core of the Jewish spiritual and religious tradition.
Read.
The Torah is a term and a set of teachings that are explicitly self-positioned as encompassing at least 70 and potentially infinite facets and interpretations. Judaism's texts, traditions, and values strongly influenced later Aramaic religions, including Christianity and Islam. Influenced later Abrahamic religions, including Christianity and Islam.
Go ahead. This is garbage. I'm just letting you know. This is I'm disgusted just reading this garbage. Go ahead.
Hebrewism, like Hellenism, played a seminal role in the formation of Western civilization through its impact as a core background element of the early Christianity.
So we ain't getting nothing out of that. We ain't getting nothing out of that. So that's what they said, Judaism. Boy, we didn't get nothing.
That's why early Christianity is garbage.
That's right. That's why early Christianity and late Christianity is garbage. There you go. All right, from our man, let's get out of there because I just wanted to read that to you. Give me 2 Maccabees chapter 2, verse 21.
Maccabees.
We almost done right here. Go ahead.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse 21. And it reads, And the manifest signs that came from heaven unto those that behaved themselves manfully to their honor for Judaism.
Read.
So that being but a few, they overcame the whole country.
Being but a few, but they overcame the whole country.
And chased barbarous multitudes.
They chased barbarous multitudes. We don't sit around here and take money away. What that Judaism, which we just read right there, is not talking about the same Judaism.
Same thing.
That's not talking about it right there. It's not the same. Read it again, Officer George.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 2.
You start with Judah Maccabees, number 19.
And verse 19.
18.
As he promised in the law.
17.
I'm
sorry.
We hope also that the God that delivered all his people and gave them all in heritage and the kingdom and the priesthood and the sanctuary.
Come on.
As he promised in the law. Surely,
as he promised in the law, meaning the first 5 what? Books. All right, come on.
As he promised in the law, will surely have mercy upon us and gather us together out of every land under heaven into the holy place. For he hath delivered us out of great trouble.
He hath delivered us out of great troubles, which we know. Now, don't get it twisted. We do know that the Bible is the book of the law, but I'm just showing you what they're talking about right here. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, read.
And have purified the place.
Read.
Now it's concerning Judas Maccabeus.
And his brethren.
And the purification of the great temple.
Read.
And the dedication of the altar.
Come on.
And the wars against Antiochus Epiphanes.
Read.
And Peter his son. And the manifest signs that came from heaven unto those that behaved themselves manfully to their honor for Judaism. So that being but a few, they overcame the whole country.
Read.
And chased barbarous multitudes.
Read.
And covered again the temple renowned all the world over. And freed the city.
Read.
And upheld the laws. which were going down.
Which was going down.
And the Lord being gracious unto them with all favor.
But you see that? That's what Judaism is. That garbage right there. That God tells you that Judaism is keeping God's laws and fighting for what is right. That's the Judaism.
Yeah.
The keeping of God's laws and we fight for that which is right. That's what it just said right there. What is that definition in? How do they got a different definition, but they supposed to be the Jews? They giving you the Jewish definition.
Right.
Meaning not really the right definition, but it's pertaining to
their theology.
Their theology.
That's what it all boils down to.
All praises Most High. Give me the definition of Jews. Did I not give you that?
No, that was.
I didn't give you that definition. All right. All right. This is the last. I might have didn't give it to you, Officer George. I'm sorry. I got you, buddy. I didn't give it to you. Now let's read this. Jews. Come on. Excuse me.
Jew, a member of the people and culture and community whose traditional religion is Judaism and who trace their origins through the ancient Hebrew people.
Who trace their origins through the ancient Hebrew people
of Israel to Abraham.
I guarantee you, those white folks over there in Israel cannot trace their history back to Abraham. All right, that's part one of today's today's who gave us the language. We just went through some things. Next week we're gonna break down a little bit more. We're gonna get a little bit deeper. And remember that word, ́liNGɡwə. ́liNGɡwə. Watch this. Hold on. Just so. Hold on real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. I hate when they do that right there. Frustrating. Let me see if I can.
Good.
ʻliNGGwə franca.
ʻliNGGwə franca. I kept on calling for car. Okay, ʻliNGGwə franca. Damn,
ʻliNGGwə franca.
all right, there we go. ʻliNGGwə franca. All right, so we got it now. My fault, guys. ʻliNGGwə franca. All right, I can't go and say it for call. All right, so ʻliNGGwə franca is, that's where you got to realize is our people don't understand that the language that we brought over here, God brought that language on us for a reason, because it's a common language for all folks to speak, so everybody can understand each other when they speak it, okay? All right, so let me see. Yeah, that's it. So I just wanted, I don't know why I was looking for that. ʻfraNkə. ʻfraNkə. It don't sound like, it don't look like it do. It's said the way it said, it's way different. It sound than it looks. All right. With that, we are TTIC. We'll be next week. We'll do part 2 on this. And remember, ʻliNGGwə franca. Next week is, I'm gonna bring that back out to explain the modern day to modern day. Why is that used today? Why is that very important today on what we're going through today? All right. So, because a lot of people don't understand these languages. Like, for instance, when you get definitions, like we just went to Google for the what was that? Israeli. We looked it up. The Israeli, they changed the definition just that quick.
Wow.
In 2 weeks, they changed the definitions
Of Israeli?
the meaning that was on there. Dead serious. We had one information on there because I had it saved because I was using it for a class coming, and they changed it just that quick.
Israeli.
Yes, that Israeli, just dealing with those people. Period. The Jewish, all that they changed.
Wow.
They changed definitions just that quick. Now I'm gonna give you an example. They did America Vespucci. When you looked him up in 2014, he was here in 14. He came here in 1490. Well, now if you look it up, America Vespucci, it says he came here in 1494. So they first he was here before Christopher Columbus, but then when we started teaching it,
They're throwing out.
They took it 2 years after Christmas Columbus.
So a person cannot, what's the word I'm gonna use? When you try to do research.
Yeah, when you research it, it'll look like on their favor. All these guys.
Yeah, because where we teaching it is how America was named.
Yes.
Because he was what they call him, he was a map maker or an explorer or something.
Yes. Italian navigator. Right.
And in the Bible it says they call their lands after their own name.
Yes. So America would have been named, that's why it was named America. Because America Vespucci. Because, so now it wouldn't make sense if Christopher Columbus was here first. Wouldn't America be called Columbus Land
or something
Columbus.
like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So everybody do understand that.
Yeah.
So that's how that's their way of flip-flopping things and changing things, because they got the power to do that. They got the power to change definitions and all that over us.
Yeah. And they're good liars, as the Bible says.
Yeah. Yeah, because so when you get a hold of something, they go in there, they'll change it. Because you might see it, I might see it, they might see it.
But they leave Africa alone, though, ain't it?
What do you mean?
Well, America Vespucci.
Oh, America. Oh, you talking about
but now we'll skip this Afrikaners.
Yeah.
While they start changing something up about that.
Well, because it's not the point was about America Vespucci. He discovered America. Because that's why they had to change that. Ain't nobody disputing that with me.
Yeah, there you go. They ain't disputing
that name.
Wow.
So that's the reason why you got that thing going on. So that's the heavy part about it, man. They can change definitions
We still got people watching, so we
Yeah,
still
we still like.
Okay.
Yeah, all they can change definitions all they want.
Right.
So I'm just letting y'all know that y'all gotta be careful with the information that y'all looking up.
Yeah.
And that's why God tells us to stay in the Bible. Because they can change definitions, they can change things like that to throw you off, to make you throw you off, to make you think that that something is one way, but it's really another way. You know what I mean? So the masses, if we look at it and then we bring it out, what they do is they change it so the mass of people can look at it and be like, no, that ain't right.
Right.
They're lying.
That ain't what I got.
That ain't what I got.
Yeah.
And so it's a debate and an argument between us. Who they gonna believe? Who they gonna believe?
It's going to be hard to believe anything.
There you
because
go.
Now, your information you got 2 years ago is different from the information I researched today.
There you go. So that's the whole point of it is they have the power to change those things.
And keep confusion going. Yeah. Keep that confusion going.
Hold on, what was that again? What was it again? So we know that according to the scriptures, we brought over here, they over us, they changed things up. So now this thing, I'm just wondering, we just talking on this last part. So if they able to change up the definitions on things, which our brothers and sisters think they able to do with the language, the false language that they teach you? See what I mean?
The language for the brothers that's so concerned about the Hebrew language.
Yeah. So if they able to change up definitions from one thing to another, so what you think they doing with that? The Hebrew? Why you thinking they making it seem like it's not this or not that?
Mm-hmm.
It's always gonna be debates. Instead of you believing in the Bible as it is written, you want to debate brothers because you believe what Esau have put in their thing.
Right.
In their blue letter definitions.
What they try to do, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you know how like say an Italian or other language, they got German, whatever. And they do have what they call dialects, where it's like a dialect is like it's something like Italian, but it might be slightly different. Like you got Italians, you got Sicilians.
Yeah.
And they may, when they speak, it sounds Italianish, but you almost have to be one of them nationalities to really catch the difference in it. And it, to me, that's what they're trying to do to this, our pure language, that they've created dialects. That makes it not pure.
So they turning things upside down. They took our language where it already been taken away from us, and they rip it to shreds. So now you got brothers and sisters out here which not ever believed already in the Bible. They not ever have believed. From back then to now, they have not believed. And so it's easier for them to jump with the Yiddish.
Because they can add a little bit of this language and a little bit of that language and then call it Hebrew.
Yeah, and let's end it on this, because what you just said, give me Leviticus 19 and 18. No, Leviticus 19:19. Let's end it on this. Leviticus 19:19.
The book of Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 19. Ye shall keep my statutes, and thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed, neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon thee. And whosoever lieth carnally with
No. Stay within 19:19. So it says, neither shall thou mingle a garment, or neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come to upon thee. So now let me explain something to you. If God says, how can we mix a language? How can language be mixed when God said he never wanted a cow and a sheep to sleep together?
Right. rabbit.
He don't want a wolf and a dog to sleep together. He don't want wool, and he don't want linen to be mingled.
Not even fabrics to be mingled.
So why would he mingle a language?
Yeah.
See how people don't think about the consequences of what we say or what we think. We just going off of what we hear. Something sounds good to you, you gonna stay with it because the reason why it sounds good to you because it's evil in it. Anything that's evil sounds good. Our people love to anticipate in things that sound good.
Yeah.
Hey, if somebody said come shop for 75% off, everybody's running for that 75% off sale. Then y'all all get in the store and all y'all get killed. All for 75%.
Whole building blow up.
All for 75% off. All right, with that we are TTIC. Now we got it. We got y'all. We got the proper pronunciation for y'all there. I was saying that. I'm telling you the word. Look, y'all gotta look up the word because it's.
I'll be able to forget about next week. What is it again?
Lingo.
No.
See, Frank. Hold on, he got me saying it. Legal, Frank. No, it's not for call. It's Frank. There you go. We can't say the damn word.
We gotta look it back up again.
No, it's not for call. It's not. No, it's not. It's not that. It's not that. No. Let me get the pronunciation.
That little cartoon.
Hey, I told you, it's not an easy word, but we gonna get it right today. Hold on. Oh, it's already on there. I'm sorry. Let me go back up here. It's not. I ain't got it on that paper. Did I do it on your phone? Yes, sir. I did it on your phone then. Yeah, there you go.
้
้ See, it's spelled ้FraNkA. That don't spell ้fraNkkə. It don't. It's like ้fraNkkə. Like Frank. Like what's Frank? F-R-A-N-K. That's how it's saying it.
Right.
But this is F-R-A-N-C-A. Yeah, it don't sound like it says. ้ લિંગા like Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
No, I'm just.
New York City right here.
For real? લિંગા Franklin. All right, so everybody got it. લિંગા Franklin. All right, we got it. With that, we are TTIC. We say
Shalom.